Joe Biden, Kamala Harris bumper sticker. You know what that means? There's probably an ignorant, brainwashed liberal driving the car with a mask. In 3, 2, 1, I was right!
Oh, wokies, wokies, wokies. And to think that it only gets worse from here. Anyway, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on more of these spectacles. Ready, set, let's groan.
Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
You haven't sat there and... I'm just trying to work that out. I mean...
Ha, gotcha.
You have got me. I'm trying to work that through in my head. Yeah, it took a while.
It did, yeah.
It took a while.
The grass doesn't seem to be greener on the other side, does it? It's always empathy for your beliefs and wearing your own shoes. There's nothing to work through your head, man. You got owned.
I don't like you. I think you spread hate. I think you spread bigotry. I think you piss a lot of people off because I mean, you're just an awful person. I don't think you really want to debate because you're just here to piss people off and energize your crowd of racists.
What have I ever said that's racist?
Oh, what?
Can you name one thing?
I'm Hispanic, can I support Charlie?
Can you name
Does that mean anything?
Can you name a second thing I've ever said that's racist?
I think you're just trying to play a game, and I think this is obviously going to be used.
What
in
have I
your
ever
favor,
said
but
that's
I just want
hateful?
to hate you. You're awful. Get off my campus.
When have I ever said anything that's hateful? Have a nice day. He can't say anything I've ever said that's racist because I've never said anything that's racist. That is the American left in one picture, everybody. Lots of rage.
Couldn't have said it better, Charlie. Lots of rage and no wisdom.
How can you come here and tell me there's no such thing as white privilege and no such thing as racism?
Easily. There's no such thing as white privilege or racism, so.
There's racism, but it's not institutional.
You know what SB 1070 is?
Tell me what it is.
It's basically a law for an officer to pull me over and ask for my papers.
Okay, well, I think people should be asked for their papers regardless of the skin
Okay,
color.
so there we go. Here's white privilege. Who are they going to ask for their papers, me or you?
I get asked for papers all the time
No,
when I
you
get
don't.
pulled over. Hold on a second. First of all, I get asked for my driver's license all the time when I get pulled over. In fact, every time I get pulled over, I get asked for my driver's license. Do you really think you're being pulled over just because of the color of your skin?
Dude, it's happened many times.
Hey, guess what? I get pulled over too.
You're never going to know it because you don't look like me, man.
Wait, hold
You're
on.
never going to have to know my struggle.
I'm just going to give you a piece of advice. Honestly, you complimented me and Candace Owens. You're looking at the world as a victim. And the evil white man that's trying to crush you, it's a lie. It's a lie that is designed to keep you down. It's a lie that is designed to try and disempower you. And white people get pulled over all the time to be asked for their papers. And if a non-citizen does not have their papers, they should be deported from this country if they do not have their papers. So please go ahead.
All right, before you start saying I'm playing that victim thing, I'm never going to call myself a victim, but I'm not blind to the fact that my journey is going to be different than someone that doesn't look like me.
You're right. So you know how it's going to be different? It's going to be easier for you because affirmative action laws benefit people of color above white applicants to certain universities. In Texas, if you try to get Regeneron or monoclonal antibodies, the specific position of the Texas Health and Human Services is we only give Regeneron to Hispanic and black people and not to white people. At State Street Capital Advisors, if you want to be a financial manager, you know they're not allowed to hire white people without board permission, yet they can hire Hispanic people and black people as much as they want. You know that United Airlines wants to double the amount of Hispanic and black pilots and try to hire less white pilots? You're right. You and I have it different. The current regime and status quo is making it easier for you. You have privilege.
Now that is a response. He definitely has some rethinking to do. Who knows, maybe he will become unwoke.
So then should go to prison.
I do not know what's the best way to handle because how do we know? I don't think that anyone should a child, God forbid.
But hold on.
I really don't.
Why shouldn't a go to prison?
What?
Is wrong?
Yeah, I consider to be wrong because it is actively damaging someone else, right?
But what if they say they're a minor well-constructed person and it's pro-social to be with a young person. Why are they wrong?
Do you know what pro-social means? Like, pro-social means, there's like pro-social and antisocial behaviors. It's like a theory of social psychology. Pro-social generally means like working together, socialization.
No, they're socializing with an 8-year-old. Why is that wrong?
Okay, that's not socializing, and you know it. Antisocial behavior usually means doing things that are considered rejecting socialization, like rejecting other people, pushing things away, promoting things that other people actively end up considering less.
Blah, blah, blah. Words upon words without the tiniest coherence. If you cannot blatantly call out a wrong, you just know you're far gone.
If someone came up to me and said, I hate white people, I hate you because you're white, did I just experience racism from that?
No.
But if I said those exact same words and twisted the skin color, it would be racist.
Absolutely, 100%.
I did not go through that course of who can be racist toward each other. Interesting, but
probably
I'm
because
good.
you're white. So.
Oh, because I'm white, I didn't go through the racism course.
Probably not.
Yes or no? Can white people experience racism?
No.
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 No?
No. By definition, no.
What's the definition?
I would have to Google it really quickly, but.
Do that for me.
Okay. Let me Google it for you.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Oh, not me on 5%.
Ugh, not him on 5%. Imagine being the professor of Racism 101, but needing to Google the definition. In case you watch this, sir, racism is discrimination and prejudice against people based on their race or ethnicity.
Restarted,
let me just
fair
stop
enough.
you so you don't waste a line of questioning. I'm just giving you...
I love the mansplaining. I'm enjoying it.
You're loving what?
The mansplaining that's going on.
Well,
just talking me through how by not answering the question, by repeating processes which are not related to the question that I've asked.
What's mansplaining, Senator?
Well, it's the slightly patronising and condescending way that you're responding to my questions.
Well, I would suggest, Senator, that if you're putting the word man in front of some description of what I'm doing...
Who doesn't love a good Uno reverse card?
You could be with your boyfriend currently, and I waved a magic wand and I said you can make $1 million a year and never do again. Would you?
No.
Okay.
He's used the wand. You can make $1 million a year. Yeah. You don't have to do, the adult content.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't have to do it. That would be great, but I would still want to do it. Personally, I'm an exhibitionist. I love, putting my self out there for other people to see, for other people to, themselves to have fun with.
Can I ask you a question? Since you're about presenting yourself to the world, do you have a good relationship with your father?
Okay, here we go.
No, I don't talk to him.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, show of hands. Who else was expecting her answer?
Pourquoi vous nous cassez les couilles ici, là? Putain! J'ai dit gauche, j'habite à côté, bordel de merde! C'est quoi le coup, merde? Allez-y! Premier qui bouge l'encul! Premier qui bouge l'encul! Vas-y! Premier qui bouge l'encul! Premier qui bouge l'encul, je prends pas les couilles! Le premier qui vient, je m'en fous! C'est pas des ridicules! C'est bon, connard! Pourquoi tu cherches pas un job, toi aussi? Fais chier! On travaille, nous aussi! On avait une famille! Allez, madame, allez, moi aussi je travaille! Je suis agriculteur! Laissez passer là-bas! Il y en a qui bougent l'encul! Il y en a qui bougent l'encul! Monsieur qui travaille, c'est des spectaculaires, faute de blaireau. Levez-vous, c'est bien. Allez, qui bouge.
If you are bent on bothering innocent citizens, those citizens are allowed to drag you off the streets. It should be in the rule of law.
And so I'm going to ask you, you said that people need this stuff so they can live happier lives and potentially it'd be life-saving, you said even. Aside from your anecdotes of your friends who told you so, how do you know that?
Okay, so thinking back to when I was 16 in an anatomy class, when I learned that transgender people tend to have the brain structure that confirms their identity that they identify with. And you can look that up. That's a fact.
I will look that up.
Yeah, it's a fact.
I will
it's
look that up and I won't find it.
Yeah.
It's not a fact. That's not a fact.
Should we all pull out Google really quick? Look.
So you're saying a trans man has the brain of a woman?
No.
Notice how it took her a few moments to even understand the terms used in the question. A 16-year-old was taught that people's brains differ from their assigned gender. Guess what that 16-year-old is? A liar.
And where did you get that from?
Look it up. It's literally, I'm telling you, I learned it from my anatomy class when I was 16. And I looked up the fact before I walked up here because I knew that you would ask.
Okay. That's not true, but it also doesn't answer the question. So let's try to stay focused on one false claim at a time if we can, because we might get bogged down.
Okay.
The drugs we give to kids for puberty blockers, so-called puberty blockers, originally are cancer drugs used to treat prostate cancer. They're also used to chemically castrate sex offenders and child rapists. Now we give them to physically healthy kids. You're saying that we need to do that or they will die. And so one last time I'm going to ask you, what evidence do you have of that remarkable claim?
I don't think I claimed that every child would benefit from that.
Well, no, I didn't say you did.
Okay,
you said the puberty blockers
you did.
You said puberty blockers are life-saving. What evidence do you have for that?
They can be. The evidence is the encounters with patients who have had these procedures done, and it has saved their, I don't want to say it saved their lives, but it has made their lives better. I can't confirm whether or not they're alive right this second, but there are children that it has helped. So what do you have to say for the happy trans community who has benefited from these procedures? That's my question for you.
I guess what I have to say is that your entire question is built on a whole stack of false premises that you can't begin to even remotely defend. So it's a faulty question from the start. I reject your premise. I absolutely reject that there are any kids who need to be chemically castrated in order to be happy.
Okay, let's...
I reject that.
Yes, walk away, anatomy girl.
So you would be okay with restricting freedom of speech? You would be okay with restricting or creating actually speech laws if that were voted on by the masses?
If the masses want it, absolutely.
Really?
Yes, I absolutely would.
I'm surprised, as someone you say you're a PhD candidate, so you're obviously a very smart person, how you don't see the grave risk, just the unbelievable risk of violence associated with centralizing the power and who determines speech and what's permissible.
I simply ask you for the source.
Okay.
Can you give me the source?
Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Castro, Che Guevara regimes, current UK, Canada, Maoist China. Need I go on?
I'm just asking you to give me a scholarly source that says that.
Okay, I don't have a scholarly source with me right now saying that Nazi Germany is worse off with speech laws than the United States.
So
you asked me for sources. One country that has better net results for human freedom and human rights by restricting speech. What's your source? One.
PhD candidate who would vote to have the freedom to speak restricted in the free country, okay? But when you're asked to prove it, you're suddenly as silent as a graveyard? Cool.
I'm just wondering if you'd like to go down on a list saying you're willing to take the refugees into your home.
Only problem is I rent.
You rent?
Yeah.
Maybe an issue?
Yeah, because they've got, well, they put 9 bedrooms in a 4-bedroom house, so we're pretty much...
So, to actually adopt the refugee and take them into your home?
Well, if I had any space, I would.
If you had any space.
It wouldn't be a nice place to bring them because it's a bit overcrowded.
Right.
But yes, if I had the space, definitely.
Thank you very much for that, love. Pop one into your home.
I live in a rental place, so I can't.
Rental?
Yeah.
You can't do it?
Yeah.
Someone else's job?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, I can't.
You can't take one?
I don't have a...
Don't have the space? We'll have a refugee stay at your house?
Yeah, I don't mind.
You go on the list?
I don't mind, yeah, I can take, give me the thing. Oh wait, I can't, because my house is only a little small. And
amazing. Would you be willing to have a refugee in your home?
Yes, if I had room.
If you had room, it's funny that. To adopt a refugee?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Any reason in particular?
I don't. What sort of refugee are you talking about?
Sorry, I can't. Would you adopt a refugee into your home?
No, thank you.
No? Adopt a refugee?
I would be willing, yeah, if I had the space.
If you had the space?
Yeah.
So, where should we put them then?
Where should we put them?
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who have done it. Who are you, mate?
My name's Jim, who are you?
My name's Alistair. I'm already adopted a refugee, thanks.
Yeah, they are welcome as long as they don't come into your homes. Yeah, it is definitely a space issue.
I wanted to ask you about Israel. There's two main reasons why I think America should be spending money and keep funding
Should or
Israel.
should not?
Should. The first is that Israel is on the forefront of technology, especially with the military, since they are constantly at war and they are constantly developing new technologies that America might need in the future with Russia or China or future wars that could happen. And the second is that they are a huge, I guess, in-between for America and the extreme Islamists that are working to undermine Western values. And the way I see it is that if Israel falls, God forbid, then America will be next. Instead of Iran funding Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen, they will be attacking America directly. And that's why I think Israel should be supported by America. And I think that the idea that we shouldn't be engaging at all in foreign politics is a very isolationist concept that isn't rooted in the real world and how we need to operate as a country.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So the first thing that I would say to you is, yes, you're right. Israel has a ton of technology. Who paid for it? If I'm wondering if, like, we spent our money here, could we have the same technology? Could we also have the thing that captures missiles, right? The thing that we keep paying for? I mean, I just am asking the question, if we stop sending our money overseas to build up other nations, I would imagine that we could maybe fund our own technology here. Second thing is, you said that, you know, if Israel wasn't there, America would collapse.
How do you have a plank in your eye and your neighbor has a stick in theirs, so you try to take out their stick first? For Wokies who are obsessed with people minding their business, that belief is only valid when you want it.
We need to band together. It was for Gen Z's first president.
Does anyone else feel super uncomfortable? How brave of this young man, if he feels like one, to share his pain. It must have been so tough to open his TikTok camera, position his phone, catch it as he fell mid-breakdown. He called on Gen Zs. You guys need to get him some help, and quickly.
I first want to thank you for coming out. I've really enjoyed listening to you speak. I am against your personal beliefs and whatever. I wanted to ask, because you're, talking about how we shouldn't trust the government, we shouldn't trust all these people, and I'm curious because I noticed in your speech, when you're speaking, you commit a lot of logical fallacies. And I can give you some examples such as composition, division, ad hominems, and, many, many others. And I learned about these in my rhetoric class because my class, which was very, very Republican driven.
I think we have a lot of people that are waiting.
Yeah, of course, no problem. I just want to say, why should we trust you? What's the point if you're going to commit all these fallacies? Why should we believe in you specifically?
Okay, well, if you think that anything that I have said today, just try to stick to the facts and don't focus too much on what you perceive to be logical fallacies. Just go look up Margaret Sanger, go look up Lyndon Baines Johnson, go look up the things that I'm telling you, and let me tell you that if you look that up and what you find out is that I completely lied today, then you shouldn't trust me. The reason why I'm standing up here is because I'm confident that I am sharing with people the truth. And the reason why I'm still up here, by the way, despite the fact that the entire media, an entire Democratic establishment, an entire BLM nation that was built overnight has been against me, the reason why my audience continues to grow is because when you are for truth and you are for God, who can be against you? You're gonna win. Thank you for your question.
You learnt big words last week, so you're going to just yap for a minute? Looks like the gotcha she planned was just played on her.
Let me ask you another question, Phoebe. Let me ask you, what bills do you currently pay? Who pays for your accommodation at university?
My student loan.
Well, have you ever paid any bills in your lifetime?
No.
So you don't know what it's like to be a homeowner and not to be able to afford your energy bills, and then see some stupid young people throwing soup over a painting in a gallery that has nothing to do with the fact they can't afford to pay their bills. You don't know what it's like to pay a bill, Phoebe, do you?
No, but I have empathy for those people. You know, the climate crisis is fueled, but the cost of living crisis is fueled by the cost of oil crisis. They are both one crisis. It's a crisis of greed of our government and their billionaire friends.
What do you understand about an ordinary family who can't afford to pay their fuel bills, who needs ordinary fuel to be delivered, but because of green taxation, their bills are now so expensive they can't afford them? And if we stop oil, how much more expensive do you think fuel's going to be, Phoebe? Or is it that you're just spouting out words that you and your friend think look good? How is it related to stopping oil to throw soup over a painting in a gallery? How is that related? How is it helping the poorest people in my country?
So Phoebe and her activist friends were a part of a Stop Oil protest. They believe oil was responsible for the inability of the masses to pay their bills. Cool, so what did they do? They went into a museum to throw soup on expensive paintings. This got Phoebe some media attention, where she's admitting to not even understanding why she's ruining a person's livelihood. Classic colored head Wokie.
Google right now, can you do IVF without a man? Go ahead.
And so your argument is you don't need a man at all.
You do not. You do not need a man to have a baby. What year are you living in? What year are you living in?
At any stage. There's no sperm that's involved.
No. You can have a baby without a man. You can You can educate yourself right now and look that up.
Sperm.
But you're refusing.
And no sperm.
You can literally look that up right now. You're more worried about laughing in your camera and recording me than doing a quick Google search to educate yourself.
So why don't you inform me?
How can
No. Don't they Google
You can
it?
take 2 eggs in IVF and make a baby. You can gladly Google that, but you don't want to. None of you have done it.
Wow, biology has been taking such a hit from these wackos. What else would you expect from a sect who believes that chromosomes do not matter?
What, do you want something? I can help you if you want.
Yes. Do you want to take me through there? Right? Do you want to take me through there and show me everything that's going on?
Do you want to see where we give here? Do you want to see where I personally give people take out people's uteruses? Do you want to see where I personally take out people's uteruses?
Yes, I do want to see that.
Oh, okay, good, because I actually do it right around the back alley. If you want to see, yeah, we can go. Want to go check it out?
I mean, we could get the cops to help check that out if you're admitting to doing that, because that's pretty vulgar.
I personally am here to do so much harm.
Thank you. Thank you for admitting
to the world. I, as a gay person, only want the worst for people. Hello.
Your words, not mine, dude.
Yes. Also, why? I just do not understand. You're literally putting us in harm's way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can somebody call 911? It was so sad watching him try so hard to intimidate her. Maybe we don't need the cops. Maybe he needs some shame.
Middle school. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with 2 adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions and came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. I'm sure I would have noticed if they had. I experienced disruptions to my learning every day. Kids acting out in class are a disruption, yet nothing is done. Why do the rules apply to one yet not another? I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I didn't go to school that day to hurt feelings or cause trouble. I learned a lot from this experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. Even at school, this right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution. My hope in being here tonight is to bring the school committee's attention to this issue. I hope that you will speak up for the rest of us so we can express ourselves without being pulled out of class. Next time it may not only be me, there might be more students that decide to speak out. Thank you for your time and good night.
This young man and his family have now sued the school for discrimination amongst other things. If one group gets free speech, the other should too. That is democracy. That is freedom. That should be America.
Hello. I had a statement to say. You were banned on Twitter or whatever because you dead named somebody. I just wanted to say that 2 wrongs does not make a right. It's not right that you were deplatformed. I don't think anybody should be deplatformed for saying anything. I fully believe in freedom of speech. But I mean, I wasn't so happy with you. You seemed kind of proud about, not proud, but it just seemed wrong to you that you were dead naming somebody. I get it. You know, if it was a mistake, that's fine.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't? Okay, well, okay, then you're proud of it. That does not make it right. I think as generations go on, we become more accepting to things. And I think that even if you don't like somebody, it's not a good idea to normalize dead naming.
Yeah, so can you explain our audience what is dead naming? You probably know it better than I do.
Is when somebody transitions and they choose a new name conforming to their gender. So if their name was Lisa before and they changed it to Jack, if you call them Lisa before that, or Lisa after they transitioned, that is dead naming.
What's wrong with that?
I think it's very wrong because I have a lot of trans friends, and if they were dead named, it would be, I mean, shattering to them because it's something that is so personal to them. What?
Shattering?
Yes. Yes. It's who they are now. People don't transition just for the hell of it, you know? It's a very personal thing to them. They don't do it to appeal to the other gender or whatnot.
This pro-trans student decided to lecture the speaker Charlie Kirk and the audience about the shattering effects of calling someone by their birth name. Charlie has actually been banned from X because he tweeted a biography of a trans woman and began by talking about the man this trans woman used to be.
But let's think about it. Isn't it part of their biography? Can you really erase history and act as if that wasn't your name for a while? For example, it was another name than Rachel Levine.
Well, why do names matter so much? I mean, it's what you want to be called. It's just a title for you.
But it's part of your biography, right? It's a fact that a man who now thinks he's a woman had a family, got married, and then magically decided to no longer be a man. I was talking facts, so your problem would be with telling of a biography?
After describing the importance of accepting new names, she goes on to tell us how names barely even matter. Ma'am, you seem confused.
Well, I mean, it's not as deep as you think it is. It's just somebody, it's them now. And it's just being respectful.
Oh, okay, but it's being respectful by not being able to act as if they were something that they weren't. Isn't their whole identity in being no longer what they were? So it shouldn't shatter them. It should be empower them.
No.
So then why do they call themselves trans if it's not their whole identity?
Well, people don't go out saying, guess what? I'm trans.
Yeah, they do.
They just kind of exist. That's Twitter. That's Twitter. I can guarantee you.
And TikTok and most campuses and the trans groups and the trans flag and the trans parade and the trans music and the trans stuff. People say they're trans all the time. If the change is not part of their identity, then why do they call themselves trans?
Well, I mean, it's just a title. Everybody, like, our society is more, you know, we want titles for just about everything.
I agree. So I don't accept the title, and I should have a right not to accept it.
Well, everybody has a right to be respected. They haven't done any wrong to you.
No, you don't have a right to be respected. You have a right to speak. You have to earn respect in a decent society. I just want to, I think you're being sincere in this regard, but why, so let's just take gender affirming care or whatever you might call it, right?
Yes.
So affirming someone's mental delusion where they think they're a man or a woman, why is that the appropriate line of treatment? For example, do we give liposuction to people that are anorexic?
Well, no, I mean, I think...
No, because we know better. We know it's going to harm them, and we love that person.
No,
so that's not medicine. That would be torture. A biography should not be eliminated because someone demands respect. For example, I can say that Muhammad Ali used to be called Cassius Clay. It's part of his life. And then he found Islam, and he decided to be called something else. And all of a sudden you get this rancor and this uproar that somehow I'm being hateful and no longer worthy of a Twitter platform because I said a fact that Levine had a name and a family and was a man and then claims he's a woman. If all of a sudden history and facts can be erased, we are dangerously approaching a 1984 dystopian world control scenario that I don't think any of us should entertain. Final thoughts?
Okay, to wrap it up, my point was basically just, I think it's better to normalize or not normalize, but like not put out that it's okay to do these types of things. I think it's just general human respect. I think we just all need to become more accepting, and we don't really need to, you know.
Got it. And so my opinion is 180. We have clarity, not agreement. I'm not going to accept mental delusions with force.
Same, Kirk. The freedom we chant cannot only belong to one party.
I'm wondering, there are dozens of words for two-spirited people that would now be considered LGBTQ or trans people in the native languages. So I'd like to know how, as these people have existed for thousands of years before you were alive or anyone else in this room was alive, and before anyone even colonized America, if trans people were around then, I'm just wondering why you think it is that trans people are only here now because the media is telling people these things.
Well, do you think it's weird that I graduated with 0 trans people? What do you think has contributed to the explosion of transgender people from the time that I was in high school? I'll ask you a question back. If this was just a natural thing, and I don't know what you're talking about with two-spirit people, is this like a Native American tribe, like high, smoking, and talking about your spirit? I'm asking you seriously, because when I think of Native American tribes talking about their spirits, I know that they used to smoke a lot, they used to do drugs, they also were cannibals who used to eat people, so I don't know if we should be taking our cues from cannibals. But
I think
can you
that's
explain
kind
to me
of
what
ridiculous.
two-spirit is in the history?
There are people that would now be considered trans people that did not feel that they fit the
What part,
binary
though?
gender.
Native Americans? I'm asking you.
Yes, I'm telling you that not only in one Native American tribe, but in multiple tribes, there were dozens of terms that referred to people that would now be considered trans, and that was hundreds of years ago. So I'm just wondering why you think that people are only trans now because the media is telling them to be.
Well, I told you, because of the proliferation. So you can't just go from having 0% to suddenly 25%
But what
of
I'm
people.
saying is that these people were around for thousands of years.
Okay, what history book are we reading? Want to bet that some LGBTQ mafia posted it on a colorful website to affirm their insanity. We've been here as long as cis people. The headline probably read.
Well, there I was thinking it was just me that had a problem, but it turns out it's the air conditioning that's sexist.
I know. So many women in our office have the exact same problem. You know, we just sit there absolutely freezing at our desks trying to type. You can probably tell I've got a cold right now, which I blame all on the AC. And so it's just so actually quite nice to see this research. It's just such a relief to know that there's actually proof that this is happening, that women, you know, do feel the cold more than men, and that the AC in offices is normally regulated more for a male's temperature than a woman's.
And it's an explanation for these constant battles you'll see in offices right across the country between the sexes for control of their office thermostat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, one of the biggest problems is that often in offices, it is men who control temperatures. You know, that's just something I've found anecdotally. And because majority of the men in offices seem to be absolutely fine with the temperatures, you know, women kind of just sit there on the corner feeling absolutely frozen.
This interview went on and on about how uncomfortable it is to be in an air-conditioned office, how women couldn't dress fashionably to work because the temperature dropped. Man, what horrible work conditions. Just wanted to show that shade of delusion. Now to the next Wokie.
You pick bear, why is that?
Because in some cases, the bear can be safer than the man.
So what do you think the chances are that a man would opt to victimize you?
I would say probably like 40%.
40%. I got a question. So if we go to any zoo in the world that has a bear enclosure, why are none of the women jumping into the enclosure to escape from the men? If me and Nick were the two men here in the studio, if we just transformed into bears right now, do you guys think you'd be safer? If you were in a bathroom, would you rather a man or a bear wanders in? If there was a bear in your home, would you call animal control? And a man would show up.
Potentially.
Yep. That's a good point. That's true.
All right, anyways, moving on.
It's funny. A man would show up to take the bear.
Before you jump on the Miss Andrew wagon that is feminist TikTok, maybe do a little thinking. Just saying.
Palestine, Free Palestine, you you're ugly.
Ugh, moi, see you after jail.
When the wind doesn't blow, when we had really cold days, we were reliant on importing from the EU on coal and on gas. How are we going to replace that in the short term?
Quite frankly, I'm not a scientist. What I am doing is listening to what all the experts are saying. We're living in this insane world where the experts aren't being listened to.
This is a vibrant purple stop oil activist.
It's time to pick a side. We don't have time to waste anymore.
Why were you arrested?
Just sitting down with my friends after they painted a building. I didn't do anything. I sat on a pavement, and now I've got a bit of orange paint on me, and apparently that's a crime now. I'm not a criminal. I'm a scared little kid trying to fight for their future. What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people?
Right, scared, innocent, kid fighting for the future.
The United Nations has called for no more oil and gas. The International Energy Agency has said we can have no new oil and gas. The IPCC report, the largest global report on the climate crisis, have all said we can have no new oil and gas. How many more experts need to say it?
Because we can't do it tomorrow. What are we going to do in terms of transport? That we still need petrol for cars and we need diesel for lorries. How are we going to get goods into supermarkets? Energy.
And it's preventable. We have the solutions.
Cheap energy is one of the things that has hugely extended life expectancy by the ability to control temperatures, whether this is by air conditioning or by heating, the ability to store food more effectively, the ability to transport food, and indeed use fertilizers to grow more food, has all been essential in increasing life expectancy. Taking all that away would be disastrous for life expectancy.
Do you know what's essential in keeping our food supply? Tackling the climate crisis. This year we lost a third of our wheat crops, half of our potato crops, and it's only going to get worse. We're heading to a future where people are going to be fighting over the last loaves of bread at Lidl.
But the only way we get our wheat crop is by putting the fertilizers on that come from fossil fuels. How are we going to replace that? That the productivity of organic farming is so much lower than of modern farming methods. We cannot feed the world on organic farming, and you must know that.
Jacob, you have 6 children? Do you not care about their future? Do you not care about them being able to feed themselves? Because right now, under this government's policies, your 6 children are heading towards a future that is filled with life-threatening extreme weather events, crop failures, famine, war. Suffering on a scale completely unimaginable.
I think you've taken the evidence for an evolving climate and then applied it in an extraordinarily extreme way and are forgetting about the enormous
I can't believe
advantages.
you're talking to me about an evolving climate.
Well, the climate is...
People are dying.
But this is
Do you know how many people are suffering around the world?
What evidence is there that this is because we're using fossil fuels, that the climate evolves, but more people die each year from cold than from heat? As
Have
you
you
know.
read the IPCC report? What do you mean? What science?
But in terms, you're making extreme claims, but you're suggesting by not using fossil fuels, we would not produce the food we need to feed the world population.
I'm
And that would be
suggesting that if
tomorrow.
we keep on heading down this genocidal path of mass destruction, then no, there won't be any foods in the supermarket. Then we will see vast swathes of the world uninhabitable. We will see mass displacement of people.
But if you took out fossil fuels tomorrow...
This entire interview mirrored the patient grandfather trying to explain why trees are green to his hyperactive granddaughter. She claimed to only be listening to and acting on expert opinions. Her ears must not be working this time.
Degree level is an honorary doctorate degree from Liberty University.
No, that's true. I do have an honorary PhD.
Yeah. So essentially, what are your qualifications for arguing that college is a scam, or really having any economical knowledge at all, when likely the vast majority of the students here know more than you about economics as a whole?
Okay, so, no, hold on. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Who's Milton Friedman?
Who is Milton Friedman? I have no idea, and it's not important to this conversation.
Who is Ludwig von Mises?
These are all probably economists, and they're the same,
Yeah,
the same
who
thing.
is John Maynard Keynes?
Okay, obviously I know who Keynes is.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
He's the most famous economist of all time.
You don't know Milton Friedman?
I mean, that's an economist.
Okay, how about Murray Rothbard?
That's another economist.
F.A. Hayek?
I don't know who that is.
Well, then you just came here and insulted my intelligence. You're right, I barely made it through community college because I was too busy, I don't know, starting a national youth movement with hundreds of thousands of members.
Hey, hold on though, hold on.
So this student is convinced that attending a college automatically equals being intelligent, and of course vice versa. Doesn't seem like it now, does it?
You asked what are my qualifications. I'm a job creator, entrepreneur, autodidact. Do you know what that word means? Yeah, self-taught. You know, you should probably learn that word if you're going to come up and insult other people's intelligence.
Owned, but upon that loss, he pulled the basic card, race.
What evidence do you have that I'm a racist?
I was just literally watching a video of you talking about whiteness as a whole, talking about whiteness as a concept, okay? And you were trying to explain how white privilege doesn't exist.
Correct, it doesn't.
You are a white man, how do you know?
Because I have eyes.
Because you have eyes. That's not a description.
So what can a black person do that I can't do in America?
What can a black person do?
What can I do a black person can't do?
Let's think of some history right here. Let's go through the history of redlining.
I don't need a history. I don't need. Listen, no, you're talking about white privilege.
You do need a history lining. Clearly, you need a history.
I know your talking points better than you do, and I've read all the literature that you have. I've probably forgotten more about the literature.
History affects the present day as well, and you know that's true. If you went to college, you would know.
Well, hold on a second, but let me.
So then why are you wearing the college of the scam shirt? Drop out.
Well, because you could.
It's because you don't believe your own beliefs, and that's what I'm saying.
Well, you can admit something's a scam and still get through it. That's why he's wearing it. Okay.
Why?
You could feel like you're getting ripped off by an airline and still want to get to New York.
That's not what we're talking about anymore.
Like you're like, I'm getting ripped off by a $1,000 ticket, but you still get on the airplane. Like it doesn't make you a hypocrite. It means that the people are ripping you off, and a lot of you are getting ripped off. But no. So as far as white privilege, just without the history lesson of Jim Crow, segregation, imperialism, colonialism, slavery, all the stuff that I know that you're going to say. But just concretely, in America today, what can a white person do that a black person can't do?
Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs when they have a black sounding name.
Okay, watch this.
My name's Keemon Dixon. I have a really black name. Please tell me how 50% of my internships have been denied when I've worked for Senator Mike Lee, Mayor Trent Sachs, Speaker Mike Schultz.
Hold on.
I worked for a Congressman, Burgess Owens. I've actually worked on his campaign. I've worked on the campaigns of John Huntsman Jr. Please tell me how my black experience and my black name has not given me shit. Go ahead.
And that's how you own a Wokie.
A lot of things will be hard for you to comprehend. That's why you're in sex work, because you can't offer value in the marketplace.
What the fuck?
And don't worry, I'm not really talking to you. I'm speaking against you as a symbol.
A symbol of what?
A symbol of a declining society where people lack values.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is this. If you had IQ and skills to offer to the marketplace, you can earn a good income. Being that the most valuable thing about you is something that you never earned. You didn't earn knowledge, you didn't earn skills. It's your breast that you paid for and your hole. So you market that to earn money, which is to say, if I took your brain and placed your brain into a man's body, you would be in poverty.
I'm just good for nothing. Yep, you caught me.
No, you are good for something. That's why you have OnlyFans. And that's my point, is that that's what you're good for.
Oh man, the truth was definitely served cold.
There is a playground where they say white families not allowed. Would you support that?
That seems like a ridiculous edge case.
Would you say that black-only dormitories is wrong?
It certainly creates a sense of community. I don't see any problem with that. We have sororities, we have male-only dorms.
Why would we have different dormitories for races?
Culture.
Segregation is what you're arguing for, my friend. Do you support white-only dormitories?
Everybody has a choice.
I think white-only and black-only anything is evil and wrong. That's why I hate critical theory and critical race theory, because when it's put in practice, you start to discriminate people based on race.
Your face is small.
They always go to insults when they lose the argument. God bless you, my friend.
The only reason he thinks that is because he has been fed that. There is no way you think a race-based playground is different from a race-based dormitory. I wonder if his mother taught him to be quiet if he has nothing nice to say.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? That's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No,
wait,
we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me a question.
Sure.
And I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You just remembered very specific.
Joy.
Here's my question.
Talking about
Here's my question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer.
Great. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay.
Great.
So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't have to be an expert.
No. Hold on a second.
Those aren't appropriate for public school.
This mother went on an interview after openly condemning a graphic children's book that she believes shouldn't be in schools nor read by children. But this interviewer only wants expert opinions? Expert opinions of pervertness and inappropriate children exposure. She must have been expecting a minor attracted person to share in her delusion.
Hello, Navarro. Suck any good lately. What's wrong, Navarro? I think you like a big in your mouth. Ha ha ha. Page 23.
This father was complaining about the ridiculous book available at the children's library. While reading the smut published for kids, a member of the school board expressed that his language was inappropriate. Oh no, who would have thought?
What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Hold on, she's trying to do what?
When she brought up Christo-fascism.
My pronouns are they. What are your pronouns?
If you have to ask me that, you need to get eye surgery.
What are your pronouns?
Okay, so someone needs to go back to elementary school.
Okay, that was rude.
And are you multiple people? Are you multiple people? Because they means multiple people.
I'm non-binary. They, them is
you
also
said you're they, them.
They, them,
That's multiple people. When I say they, I mean a group of people. I'm not going to call you they.
We can imagine pulling up Google and still denying the reality right in front of you.
Having a laugh, is that? No thanks. What's going on there? Romans, the lot of ya. Have that, and you can have it as well, you. The lot of ya.
Maybe they needed some milk.
So on campus, if there's some students, at the bottom GPA-wise, would you give them some of your own GPA points to make it more equal?
No.
I believe in big government, right? I believe
you don't.
No government.
No government. So you're an anarchist.
Yes. I believe in voluntary hierarchy and democracy.
What's preventing you from doing what the Amish do? Get off the grid and just go live like that right now.
Well, the Amish are religiously excluded.
No, forget the religious component.
Well,
but the Amish are a great example.
It's incredibly difficult to just pick up everything that you have, leave, and go.
So you want to tell me how to live?
What I'm saying is that there are people that are literally starving, and that if you had extra houses and they literally just came and occupied the houses that you are not using, they are justified because you are being a massive asshole.
If someone forcefully takes away something that is sedentary, not being used in that purpose, it is a rightful means of theft.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So you don't believe in private property rights?
No, I do not.
You don't believe in private property rights, so we're getting somewhere. So you're not a libertarian, my friend. Libertarians believe...
I'm not a libertarian in the American... I'm not a libertarian in the capitalist sense. I'm not a libertarian in the American sense.
So stop using the word, because you're anything but it.
Theft is justified. He looks like the kind of a person who would pull a hunting gun if a person stays too long on his lawn, but richer people should not care about their properties being stolen. Okay?
So you're saying if you're not a woman, then you shouldn't have an opinion?
Where does a guy get a right to say what a woman is? Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is?
This is actually a genuine mistake. I am sorry I even came up here.
You want to tell us what a woman is?
This person believes that no one outside of a category has the right to define said category. We should ask bread what it actually is. Water too. We just might be wrong. In fact, line up every defined and named entity. We need to ensure we are not dead naming and misgendering.
Denying trans people life-saving care is a kind of rude thing to do.
Life-saving care?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so denying trans people their life-saving care is a rude thing to do.
Do you think it saves kids' lives to stop their bodies from going through puberty?
I think it does.
How come?
Because there's studies showing that, like, people who transition, who are pre-transitioning... How do I explain this?
It's okay, take your time. No pressure.
I don't want to have this conversation.
No. You're onto something. You want him to take it, or?
It's always the studies you can't make sense of, the friends you can't name, and the ridiculousness you can't seem to see. Anyway, walk away.
My point is, Riley, that
Let me say something.
I understand how hard it is to be a woman,
ahead.
and you fought so hard to be a woman, and I have so much empathy with that, so I can understand why it is so upsetting when, in your view, someone who isn't a woman comes along and says they are, because it undermines all of the history of what women have been through.
Yes.
But that's not a trans woman's fault. That is men's fault. Men are the problem, not Dylan, not trans women.
Men are the problem.
Except trans women are men.
Let's get this straight. The reason why trans women feel the need to occupy women's spaces is because of the men who are not even involved in the situation. Actually, no, men are involved. The ones in wigs and makeups vlogging their days of girlhood. And stop bulging your eyes, buddy. They might fall out of their sockets.
Does anyone here feel that what they're doing right now is derailing them from being with the person they're supposed to be with in the end and the life that they're supposed to end up with?
It reminds me of people who say, hey man, why can't I just have like a deathbed confession? You know, I live it up, man, I go to Vegas, I do all sorts of crazy stuff, and on my deathbed, which I may or may not get, I'll just convert and then I go to heaven. That'll be really great, right? And look, maybe, but really what happens is people tend to just keep going down the roads that they're on, and the habits that they cultivate become the habits that define their lives, whether it's virtue or vice. And I just think if you believe you're going to keep doing this, and then one day at 34 and a half, you're going to wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to do something totally different now and get Mr. Right, who's not addicted to porn, and get 2 kids and millions of dollars. I just think that's very, very unlikely.
I think it's more likely that all of us are going to find like some hot rich guy to marry and take care of us than to like be single for the rest of our lives.
Wanna bet? We would see who's making things I didn't know in my 20s, but I do now, videos on YouTube in a decade.
The U.S. will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border.
All I can say is fuck Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald
Period.
Trump. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, fuck him.
Period.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're happy he's out because now we don't have someone who thinks like this.
Right, exactly. Because Donald Trump, he He was the devil.
Yeah.
He was the devil.
And it's showing when he says things like this.
Yeah.
So the devil would say things like this.
Exactly.
Would you ever expect our current administration, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, to use this type of language when talking about people wanting to come into our country?
No,
hell no.
no,
They
they
got
wouldn't
more
even
class
do
than
that.
that.
They're classy people.
Yeah, they got more
You know?
class than that. No.
So they wouldn't do that.
So I want you to read this headline from Politico.
Harris blunt message in Guatemala, do not come to the U.S. Oh, she said that?
Everything I just said was not Donald Trump. It was Kamala Harris.
Oh my God.
Show me the facts.
I'm
Right here.
sorry, Donald Trump.
Read that headline to me.
This reporter played a game where she read part of a speech, and the interviewees guessed which politician said those very words. These two individuals strongly believed it was Trump's words. Well, the woman believed, and the man was a member of the agreeing club. Either way, they were both wrong. Turns out books really shouldn't be judged by their covers, and not everyone is as classy as you think. At least she apologized.
I identify as a transgender woman. I identify as a woman.
So you're a biological male and you now identify as a woman.
My biology shouldn't matter to you because you have nothing to do with my biology.
So what about you makes you a woman?
Because that's how I feel the most comfortable.
So what I'm
When
asking
you call me a male, then I feel uncomfortable. It's as simple as that. And
I'm asking what qualities make you a woman?
when you call me a woman, I feel comfortable. And then it's that simple. Would you like it if I called you a man?
No, because I'm not a man. Right. I am a woman. I was born with breasts and and I have X chromosomes. Okay.
The only difference between you and me is the way we were born.
Exactly, and that difference will never change.
I do not appreciate being filmed for this.
Oh, he's not filmed. He identifies as a camera. We just kind of, I'm glad it's funny to you.
It's just very confusing.
Exactly. We are all confused. What do you identify as? A billionaire? A good steak? A rational person with common sense?
Do you think kids should be able to change their gender?
Yeah, I think gender is a social construct, man. If you want to bind or whatever, do it, man. Whatever makes you feel like you. Gender dysphoria it's dangerous and it's difficult. I'd rather these kids stay alive and they express themselves.
Rather than getting a surgery to fix gender dysphoria, which can't go back, why not just get mental health assistance?
Couldn't agree more. Now that's a person with a brain.
I think my body is sort of a gift, and I have obligations to my creator. The reason that I don't support mandatory organ donation is not because of some liberal conception of autonomy or something. It's because that's not what your organs are for. Your organs are for you. Your lungs are to bring oxygen to your blood. Your heart is to pump blood around your body. Your liver is to take care of what I will probably do later on at the bar after this speech, and so on and so forth. My organs are not for you. Your organs are not for me. So you can give an organ donation, and that can be a lovely thing to do, but you aren't obligated for it because things are known largely by what they are for.
Okay. It sounded like you were just going to be anti-organ donation for a second. I was like, that's weird.
No. But I am against, going in and stealing people's organs. I think that would be quite wrong.
This young lady asks about Michael Knowles' stance on organ donation, and he stuns her with his response. But notice how she was already expecting a triggering answer?
Why don't we like the patriarchy? Because the patriarchy. Why? Because it makes it so much harder to exist and just have equal rights, and it just that. So do you think women have it harder in society? Yes, definitely. Do you think men at all face any hardships at all, or is it really just an attack on women in our society? Well, I feel like they're really expected to be the breadwinners all the time. Mm-hmm. Do you like that or not like that? I personally like that because I wouldn't mind not working in the future. So in the future, you want to be a mom? Definitely, yes. Okay, you want to be a wife? Yes. What does that look like for you if we don't like the patriarchy?
Ha! Another woman echoing words she has no idea about.
Okay, but you're still saying these kids should not be accepted because they don't really fit in either place. They can't just
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a boy to be a Boy Scout.
What's that written though? Okay.
In the name Boy Scouts.
Where is that written? Well, in basic grammar. Only girls can be princesses, only women can be queens, only boys can be princes, and only men can be kings. We all learned this.
Hey, sir. What do you think about abortion?
It's good. I mean, if the woman wants to do it, then she should do it.
Okay.
The man shouldn't have control over like what she does.
Okay. Would you say?
Like said, if a man can't make one, why does he decide when and where to create one?
Okay, but that's not really what we're talking about, right? It's not about creating one. With abortion, we're talking about once they're already created, is it okay to kill them? Would you say the preborn are humans? Like, are they the same species as we are?
Yeah, because they're still like, when they come out, they're going to be humans.
Yeah. So if these are humans, they haven't done anything wrong. Do you think it's ever okay to kill an innocent human? No. So if that's the case, would abortion ever be justified?
Let's hope he went home and actually thought about this.
We're tired of straight white men having the power and everything, you know, and it's like we as women of color, as like students at this university, like we're very much capable of certain things, and we don't have the same privileges that are offered to straight white men.
And I've been hearing that from a lot of the ladies that I've been talking to today. Talk to me about what some of those privileges are that, you know, straight white men have that you don't have. Talk to me about that.
I think I don't really know. Have you ever experienced like a specific instance?
I don't know, but I also need to go.
I know, I do need to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, run away. That's what people do when they realize they make baseless claims with zero evidence.
Does height matter?
Of course it does.
Step on the scale.
I'm not going on a scale. You should love a girl for who they are.
You should love a guy for who they are, regardless of height.
That's true.
So take it back then.
I'm not taking it back.
And step on the scale.
No.
You're being a coward.
Weight, you're ridiculous. And
if you care about height, you're ridiculous.
But you don't need to know an exact number.
You don't need to know an exact height.
All you gotta know is that they're taller than me, and that's it.
Okay, I want you to be lighter than me. Step on the scale.
No.
Okay, she said height was important for her, but somehow weight is ridiculous. To each his own, but don't get upset when people want their version of your preferences.
The city of Hamtramck, Michigan elected its first Muslim-majority city council and its first Muslim mayor, and lefties everywhere went, "Hooray, diversity!" And then the city banned the pride flag.
Shout out to Hamtramck, Michigan.
Getting called a straight white man.
We're good. And everything's really good. Everything's looking really good. We're in the lowest time of poverty in human history, and poverty is exponentially reducing every year. Trust me, we're in a very good time.
This is really interesting coming from a straight white man.
Well, okay, yes.
Like, everything's always good for you. I'm a minority.
Yeah.
Nothing's good for me.
I'm Palestinian. I'm Arab.
You're Arab?
Yeah.
Damn, he should have robbed her in with their famous racial assumption argument. And how has nothing been good for you, lady? You're literally getting interviewed in an elite college.
Men and women equal. Actually, women are better than men. What do men bring to the world? Literally nothing. Women, the vibes, just everything.
Everything you know and love. If you look around the entire infrastructure of our nation, our economy, every building you walk into, the way that you are portraying your ideas and opinions is through technology and infrastructure and an economy and a nation that was not only built, but is still maintained to this day by men.
Did men allow you to have that haircut?
You taking personal attacks makes me seem like the more intelligent.
Okay, I understand.
Validate your point, not some personal attack because it's using the argument. Feminism stops whenever it's inconvenient for y'all. By definition, you are delusional and you cannot defend your ideas.
If you have a point, make it. If not, don't even start the argument.
Oh!
No!
What are you doing?
You do not!
Hey!
You do not!
What are you doing? Bruh. What? Hey.
You do not take pictures of me!
Oh my God!
Right! Look what you're doing, kid!
The man in the black hoodie had misgendered the person in the blue dress. Apparently the blue dress is transgender and wanted to be called she, her, and ma'am. So, to drive that point home, the blue dress decided to manhandle the man in the hoodie. How ladylike.
Would you say you're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel?
Pro-Palestine.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that. So
It is illegal to be gay in Palestine. You are punished by prison or death.
Israel?
No, Israel has gay pride. Israel is completely open to lesbian and gay people. Palestine puts them in prison or kills them. You weren't aware of that?
I was not aware.
No, not just that. You do not know anything. Before you design posters, use hashtags, and bully your own fellow citizens, please use Google.
Ultimate authority over what happens to her body.
But there's a child inside of her body.
Hold on. What about meth?
Like, should she be allowed to do meth?
Yeah, switches up now.
I think if someone is doing meth while they're pregnant, that it is completely acceptable for something like, I don't know what the name of the service is in the United States.
Child services? It's her body, though.
Yeah, it's her body.
If she wants to do meth, what's the big deal?
The big deal is that she's intentionally trying to kill a child.
Hold on there a minute.
Yeah, I see where we're going.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Ha, another stumbler. Isn't abortion intentional, mister? If you keep them talking for a while, the script runs out and the truth flows.
This woman goes on to say she was pretty happy that Planet Fitness cancelled her membership. As they say, Planet Fitness stands by a decision to allow men in women's locker rooms and warns members that their discomfort is not a reason to exclude transgender people. So in this woman's case, they stood by the guy in the women's locker rooms and they dealt with her by cancelling her membership. Crazy times, man.
So think and admire, and you read these books that are written by men. They have no connection to God. So when you see that, oh, you're gonna go to hell for like sodomy and everything else, but you're basing it all on a book that men, white, rich, cis men have wrote.
The Bible wasn't written by white men.
It was written by
It was written by Hebrews. We're actually brown-skinned men. They're actually my color. So
when did all of America's problems become straight white cis men?
3 out of my 4 children are trans. They're all part of the LGBT. 4 out of 4? Yeah. Oh, Finn. Yeah. Are trans. They're part of the LGBTQ community.
The chance you have a trans kid is 1 in 3,000. So the joint probability that you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid is 1 in 9 million. The odds that you're a pathological narcissist sacrificing your own children to the glorification of your compassion is 8,999,999 to 1.
Statistics and truth, the best combo there is. Again, the Stop Oil protesters who decide to bother innocent citizens rather than actually try to start the change they would like to see. Well, this time the provoked citizen had a little time on his hands, so he sprayed them with a liquid. Too bad he didn't have pepper spray on hand.
Talk to me about some of the privileges that white men are awarded that you guys are not awarded.
Definitely, like, I guess just getting away with situations. Like, if I were to, like, I don't know, like, I guess.
Or they just don't exist, dear. Maybe it's all in your head. Maybe you've been trained to think that way. This was a classic feminist against man debate. And well, he gave her something to debate while she goes home and lies in bed that night.
Do you think genitals define gender?
No.
Why?
You can do, it's your body and your choice, and you can do whatever you want.
So, like, what if I wanted to change my race? Is that okay?
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Well, at least she apologized.
I actually have a question for you. You being an anthropologist, which anthropology is the study of human civilization? So if you were to dig up a human, two humans, in 100 years from now, both man and woman, could you tell the difference? Strictly off of bones.
Yeah, because it's a migrate.
This woke anthropologist who heavily believes in social constructs somehow admits that the remains of people can be identified by gender. It's almost as if the facts have been right all along.
Right. Well, my counter to that is that we shouldn't really be seeing the world in black and white. And a woman it's more than what meets the eye for a definition.
No, it's not. No, we should see the world through male and female. Yeah.
Why?
Definitely. Well, why? Because I live in reality, not in Narnia or some sort of weird created academic abstract space that doesn't exist.
So why shouldn't a person be socially welcome to identify with gender outside of the binary?
Well, anyone can pretend to be something they're not, but that doesn't make them the thing that they're not. Can I be black?
No.
Oh, but why can't I socially become black? Blackface, right? I can pretend, wear camouflage, masquerade as something that I'm not, right? How's that different than a trans person?
Race and gender are two completely separate things. They have nothing to do with each other, and the existence of being transgender does not imply the existence of being transracial.
So you can pretend to say that you have ovaries when you don't, but you can't put makeup on to pretend to be a black person.
What transgender women are claiming to have ovaries?
There's lots of men that pretend to have ovaries. In fact, the CDC guidance says right now that men can chest feed. Do you think men can chest feed?
We'll give him a minute to gather his thoughts.
That's not the sole criterion for being...
So let me ask you a question. What is a woman?
A woman is someone who identifies as one.
Answer the question without saying the word woman. You can't say the word woman. That's called circular reasoning. It's like saying a tree is something that looks like a tree. So I'll ask again, what is a woman?
A woman is a person who lives a lifestyle aligned with feminine characteristics, not necessarily your chromosomes or your genitals.
So someone who just wears a dress. So what you are doing is you are reducing womanhood to a costume.
And mic drop, but hold on, he still has more to say, it would seem.
No, so are you suggesting that, like, a transgender woman goes about her day pretending to be a woman, but then when she gets home, she starts acting like a man?
No, delusional in every part of life, I understand that, but that doesn't mean they're not delusional. There's a series of mental conditions where you could pretend to be a wolf. Can you be trans species too? Does your own mental condition dictate external reality, yes or no?
Not necessarily.
Okay, then why do you believe that a biological man can become something that he is not? Because he thinks it.
Because gender is not interchangeable with sex.
Yeah, right. So there are zero genders. There are only two sexes. Gender is a made-up term that started in the academy in the 1960s. Talking about sex, which is the only thing that actually can be proven and that matters, X, 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 Y, I will ask the question again. Why is it that a man can suddenly become a dress and can be treated exactly the same as a woman that is biologically, not just biologically different, but somebody has a different brain, a different hormonal system, menstruate, have children? I'll be very honest with you. It is so unbelievably insulting to women to have men have to lecture that all it takes is some weird dude with testosterone can put makeup on, wear a thong and a dress, and he suddenly becomes a woman. Here's at the essence of the issue, is that no matter how much surgery you do, no matter how many drugs you take, you don't stop being the thing that you were born. You don't get to determine your reality by a stroke of the will. I don't deny for a second that the trans person thinks that they are. Certain people think that they're younger than they are. Some people think they're taller than they are. Some people think they're richer than they are. Some people think they're innocent when they're not, like Bob Menendez. There's plenty of delusional people in this world. It's up for society to say no to the delusional and yes to reality. It is for us to not allow us to be reigned under the tyranny of somebody's imagination. Do you have a response, and then we'll wrap it up? I'm not going to put you on the spot. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's done now. It looks like it, but he didn't cry. He was just at a major loss for words. Let's hope he learns from this experience.
My body! My body!
Would you be okay with a mother taking drugs and drinking alcohol while pregnant?
Of course not, but that's not the point.
Not her body, not her choice, I guess.
Look, I've got a question for you.
You are contradicting yourself by saying she can't drink alcohol and take drugs. Why not?
Because it's medically proven that it can affect the baby.
What does abortion do? Kill the baby.
So now it's a baby. Okay, let's recap. You can take the life of a baby, but you can't affect the baby's health. She's so fluent in foolishness.
James argues, accurately, that there are differences between men and women. This is a strange position to be in, to be arguing for something that is so universally and widely accepted within biology. What is not as widely accepted is that culture is also evolutionary, but I'm going to argue that biology and culture are both evolutionary. Let's look at differences between men and women that are explicitly anatomical and physiological. Are men taller than women on average? Does anyone take offense at that fact? Are you irritated?
There's always a standout.
So I would say you could be irritated by it. You could be irritated by the fact that women have to be the ones to gestate and lactate. You could be irritated by a lot of truths. But taking offense is a response that is rejection of reality. So men and women are different on height. They're different on muscle mass. They're different on where fat is deposited on our bodies, right? Our brains are also different. So they're
Security! This is what happens. Oh, did they shut off the volume? Can you hear? Can everybody hear?
If words trigger you so much, maybe you shouldn't attend a speech given by people with views that are different from yours. Just stick to the colorful side of X.
All right, well, we're going to raise our voices. The conversation's going to go on.
See? Truth always wins.
This is my voice 1 day on estrogen. This is my voice 1 week on estrogen. This is my voice 1 month on estrogen. This is my voice 1 year on estrogen.
Bro, did your voice get deeper? Man, biology is a bitch.
This person decided to document his journey with estrogen. He must have been hoping to sound like Barbie, but biology said he was getting beast.
Maybe it's not a reality for certain countries to completely eliminate fossil fuels. Do you think you guys are coming back from like a privileged position in that sense?
Pardon me 1 second. If we could like quickly get a look and see that, you know, these are our representatives. We, the people, are the government. You guys are just our representatives. But the thing is, what was the question?
So the question is, how are you guys addressing economic equality if you guys want to get rid of fossil fuels?
I believe that that's a question for the leader.
Well, what do you think?
I think that I won't comment on that. Only because I really don't have an answer.
Wow, just wow. The leader needs to train his followers, it would seem. This is beyond embarrassing.
It's a
socialist intifada?
If I'm being honest with you, I just got this at the stand over there.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually know the definition of the word intifada.
Okay.
But, I mean...
Do any of you know the definition of the word intifada? Stop bombing Gaza, that makes sense. What about that one? Yeah. And what does that mean?
Well, it means it's to stop the Israeli occupation of Palestine.
From which river to which sea?
River Jordan.
From the Jordan to the Mediterranean Sea, yeah. So does that mean that all of Israel should be, what is now Israel, should be Palestine, in your opinion?
No, I personally don't think that. I think I'm definitely not the person to talk to about it.
So you leave everything going in your life to go protest for a cause you know nothing about? You carry signs that you have no inkling of what they actually mean?
What's the difference between working hard and earning a high GPA and not wanting to give it away, and then working hard and earning a high income and not wanting to give it away?
I feel like the highest bracket of income earners in America are not at all the people that work the hardest. Oftentimes the poorest members of our society are the ones that work the hardest because they're the ones that are working like 40-hour weeks in like intense manual labor jobs, whereas like the richest members of society are the ones that are like have the capital to invest in stocks and aren't really contributing to our society but are.
These students in earlier questions chose socialism over capitalism. They believe the top should carry the bottom, but cannot share their GPA with poor performing students.
So much trans hate in the world right now, and I'm so done with it, and pride just means that we are unabashedly happy.
And in your own life, where would you say that you feel the hate the most?
I kind of internalize a lot of the hate, so it feels like it mostly comes from myself at this point because...
What? So there's no hate? You just hate yourselves and blame it on the ones who do not care. Interesting.
Voter ID laws are racist?
I think so.
Most of the motivation behind them being put into place is rooted in racism.
I think voter ID laws are inherently discriminatory when you look. The vast majority of people who do not currently have IDs are people of color.
Do you have an ID?
Absolutely.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
What do you have to say to all the people that say black Americans can't get voter ID?
I don't even know why they would say that. We can get the same things that every other American can get. That doesn't even make sense to me.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe the actual racists are the ones who mentally limit certain groups of people.
He's black, but he has a white parent and a black parent.
He's half and half.
They want to keep the white primacy pure form. So they want to say that he's black.
I honestly haven't thought very deeply about the racial composition.
If you get a pizza from Domino's, okay?
This is probably stop.
This is relative, unlike you. Trust me.
Oh,
so
trust you? Okay.
If you get a half pepperoni and half cheese pizza, it's not a cheese pizza.
Cool. Like I said, half white, half black, half cheese, half pepperoni. What's the point? Where are you getting at?
Why is everybody laughing at me?
Okay, Missouri State starting strong, everybody. I gotta tell you. Please don't do drugs, guys.
Don't do drugs, guys. Okay, breathe out now, it's over. If you are ever in the mood to shake your head at Delusional Wokies, just hit that subscribe button. Until then, please stay unwoke.